In churches, we hear a lot of songs talking about holiness, like the hymn, Holy, Holy, Holy are you, Lord God Almighty. But if you look at studies, you find that most of the time, if you look for a study on holiness, you find holiness concerning us, human beings. Holy as defined as set apart, given to God, separate from ordinary use, like the use of cups and things from the church that are not used in ordinary homes. But what we want to consider today is God's holiness, because our own follows His own. He said, "Be holy, because I'm holy." And He called His people in the Bible time and time and time again, "Be ye holy." You be holy. And it's not a choice, it's not an advice, it's a command. So what we know now is being holy for us is to be separated, is being different, walking countercurrent, which is already a challenge. But the model of holiness we have is God. So what really does it mean that God is holy? There's no definition. And the dictionary doesn't offer any help. But time and again we see the holiness of God. And I want to invite you to go through the Bible with me very quickly to look at some of the instances. The first one occurs very early in Genesis, at the point in Genesis chapter 3 when Adam and Eve are chased away following their disobedience. They are taken out of the Garden of Eden. And God places at the entrance an angel with a flaming sword, barring the entrance. And what we see here is a flame that you cannot approach. And we all know what the fire does. One of the first things that kids do is, fascinated by the fire, they try to put their finger on it, on a candle or on a bonfire, and it burns. And so you don't try it again. The second time we see that example is in Exodus chapter 3, when Moses was in the desert, in the wilderness, tending his sheep, and he saw a bush that was in flames. It was burning, but one thing he noticed was that it didn't burn out. It was not consuming itself, but the flame was continuous. And he wanted to know what it was. So he approached. And as he got very close, God told him from inside the flame, inside the bush, "Don't come nearer. You are on holy ground." So God reveals His holiness in fire, in the fire, a voice in the fire, unapproachable and yet inviting, unapproachable but willing and keen to initiate dialogue. It was God that called Moses. Moses didn't know there was anybody there. He just saw the flame. And then later on we see God revealing Himself in flaming mountain to the people. saying, don't approach. If you get close to the mountain, you'll be destroyed. Destroyed by that fire. Destroyed by that fire. And then, during the years in the wilderness, those 40 years, it was fire by night. But that time, not a fire of destruction, but a cloud of fire, a huge fire that was like the fire of the praise tree, protecting people from the animals, protecting them from danger and warming them, because the wilderness can be very cold at night. So it was another side, another figure of the fire, of the flame. The flame is destruction, but it's also cleansing, and it's also protection and warmth. Everybody likes a fire in the heart, in the homes at night in winter. You put some logs there, and it's so inviting. Fire as light, protection, and warmth. But it's also something that can destroy. Houses, homes can be destroyed by fire. People can be destroyed by fire. So, holiness is in the image of the fire. But we thank God that Jesus came as the Son of God and God incarnate, God in the flesh, and he passed through the fire as he died on the cross. And now we don't need to fear that fire. All that remains is what people call, with their poor words, the fear of God. That is the awe of God, and the realization that God is not just a myth. He's not somebody you can just overlook. He's not like us. He's holy. He's pure. And the fire is an image of purity. Extreme purity that doesn't exist on earth. But inside the fire there is purity. And inside the fire there is also light. If you look at the flame, the middle of the flame is light. It's bright yellow light. It's a light that you cannot describe. So blinding, the light. And Jesus said, I am the light of the world. And he invites us to be the light of the world, following him, in him. And so our own holiness doesn't depend on good deeds, trying our very best, because our very best is like rags in his sight. Holiness for us means being found in God, in that fire, pure, unalloyed, free from compromise, being the same nature of God, holy. And you don't need to be declared holy to be holy. You don't need to have died first, as some places teach. No. Every Christian is holy in the sense that he is in God. And your degree of holiness will depend on the place you give God in your life. And we have to pray, God, take the whole place in me. So my holiness will be touching people, healing them, warming them, guiding them. This is really what it should be. Should be our prayer, and it's also a challenge to all of us. Bless you.